No other option. Either I had to, it was like a do or die situation. I had to give either everything or just pack my bags and go home. So I wrote around 953 answers. Big thanks to actually Sachin last year for recommending that.
So Kiran, congratulations for cracking this exam with 53rd rank. It's a long journey, long struggle, and 6th attempt, last attempt. So tell me, what do you feel now?
First of all, thank you, Safi sir. It's been very happy, but more relieved than happy, I would say. It was my 6th and final attempt. To be able to end it on a positive note, I think nothing more than that. So very happy.
Kiran, can you tell us about your background? Where are you from, and what's your educational background, and where you were working, and all those?
Yes, sir. I was born in a place called Ghataprabha in Belgavi. I basically come from Karnataka, sir. So you must have heard of the Belgaum dispute. So that's the place where I come from. Currently, I'm working in Bengaluru, sir, as an assistant engineer in public works department since the last 3 years. While growing up, I've grown up in different parts of Karnataka, especially North Karnataka. And then I did my graduation in civil engineering in Gopte Institute of Technology, Belgavi, sir. So thereafter, I've started preparing since March 2020 into the civil services, sir. So I gave 6 consecutive attempts, and this was my 6th and final attempt.
So 6 attempts, and last year you went through interview.
Yes.
This year you cracked with a phenomenal rank. Yes. So what's the difference between the last 2 attempts, and what you did differently from the initial 4 attempts?
Yes, sir. I feel that initial 4 attempts were something different, and then 5th was a little different because I got and reached till the interview. But somewhere even that was not enough, and 6th was completely again a different way of approaching the examination. So in terms of between last attempt and this attempt, I feel a lot of mains answer writing is what I emphasize, and this is something even you've been recommending. So I wrote around 953 answers. So that is something I did a lot this year. So writing a lot of answers, lot of value addition is something I focused. So earlier I used to write, just simply focus on writing. And this time I made it a point that I write very specific to the demand. I identify the implicit demand and then do a lot of value addition. So strictly speaking, a lot of focus on mains. That is one change I've done this year.
So that is visible in your mark also.
Yes.
There is a significant improvement in mains, almost 70, 80 marks.
Yes, sir. From 739 last year to 816. So it's been a huge jump, and I think that has led me to this rank.
So what really made that difference? Answer writing, or beyond that something you did in your approach also, in your preparation also, in your time investing also?
Yes, sir. Again, like just simply going on blindly writing answers will not help, sir. So reviewing answer is very important, and I think that is where mains companion comes in handy. And big thanks to actually Sachin last year for recommending that. So that hand holding that comes during the mains preparation through this program was very helpful. At the same time, value addition, rightfully identifying what are the weak areas, where are the things that I can actually improve. So I always looked at my answers and was like, I was not very satisfied. I would always try to look to improve it. So if I have written some answers today, 2 days later again I would come back, revisit them and think in a different perspective. So that is something I did different, sir. So it's all about incremental changes every day. It's not going to happen overnight. So a lot of patience, lot of dedication, and a micro view of our own answers, and with the help of mentors like you, I think that is what has helped me.
So paper 1 was slightly weak area for you, and this time you improved slightly.
Yes,
but
sir.
paper 3, if you see, your strong area, but
Yes.
you scored very less in the
Yes.
last mains,
Yes, sir.
68, and you have made a significant jump.
Yes,
the mark that you got, almost 80 difference out of that 30, 1 by 3rd is
Yes.
coming from GS3.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what you did specifically for GS3 this time?
So GS3, as we can see, it's like 50 into 5 subjects. So lot of what we actually do is we focus too much on agriculture and economy part. But no matter how much you focus on it, ultimately it will be only 50 and 50 marks. We still have another 150, which is science and tech, environment, ecology, and then internal security. So this time around, I made a jump from 68 marks to 99 marks. So that's a 31 marks jump. So I changed my paper solving strategy this time. Internal security I wrote in the first few minutes. So I started my answer with internal security 9, 10, and question number 19 and 20, unlike economy or agriculture. Thereafter I went to economy and then agriculture and then ecology, and then ended with science and tech. So this is something I did differently. I felt all my energy has to go to those areas where I've prepared very well, because agriculture, economy, and internal security, these are things students usually prepare when it comes to GS3. This is what is the core. So if I have invested so much of time, I have to make sure that that gets translated even on the paper. So that is one change I made, sir. So that has led to that translation of 31 marks.
Okay, also when you're preparing so long and 6 attempt, that too when your last attempt.
Yes.
Normally with aspirants, if it is the last attempt, so far I have not cracked also, so the pressure will come. But you said in the interaction with the students, you told that in fact adversity make a man more perfect and more stronger, right?
Yes.
And when you don't have the backup or you don't have any other option. Like if I don't crack it this time, I cannot write answers also for next time. So that's why you are able to spend so much time and you are able to put that effort. So how does that make the difference into your thinking and in your approach to this exam and writing answers?
Yes, sir. Like, just to put it simply, I was just pushed to wall this time. I had no other option. Either I had to, it was like a do or die situation. So I had to give either everything or just pack my bags and go home. So the latter was not an option. So I gave my everything. In those 3 months, I took leave from my job, loss of pay. I came to Delhi and I prepared a lot, wrote a lot of answers this time. So that has been what I've been highlighting a lot. I took a lot of inspiration from last year topper Sachin and even Rangamanju. So they had written a lot of answers. So that is what inspired me. So if someone has actually done and succeeded it, and I think nothing inspires and motivates a person than when we've seen them closely. So that is something I changed this time. And last attempt, I think there was nothing to lose, sir. So I had to just give all in. I went all guns blazing, and I think somewhere God even blessed me with much more than I expected.
You have mentioned about Sachin. Sachin was our previous mentee last mains companion program, and in the last podcast that I have done with him, he have mentioned that he have written almost 5,000 answers, including optionals, and I know that it has been done actually. So how much that really helped you when you are writing? So how many answers you have written, and how does that help you?
So last year I written I read more but written very less. So that took me just 10 or 15 marks beyond the mains cutoff. While that is good, but that is not again good enough, because just clearing mains cutoff is not enough, sir. So what I did was, this time for PSIR I wrote 2 test series. Even for GS I wrote I directly headed for the full length test. So wrote 2 iterations of that, 2 another set of simulators, and everyday answer writing, sir. This is something I did differently. A lot of UPSC PYQs is what I practiced for everyday answer writing. Every day around 7 to 8 questions I would identify based on the my comfort level, like the weekly test. I would identify the topic, write 7 to 8 answers every day, and evaluate it strictly, sir. Very strictly, make sure, look at it from only value addition point of view. So nothing can replace a lot of rigorous and intensive answer writing. So that is what has helped me, sir.
When it comes to essay, so what was your approach in essay? Because normally I've seen even we also recommend maybe a pastel approach, political, administrative, social, all these economic dimension or chronological approach. Students also follow that, but sometimes it feels like cliche because everyone is writing the same. Was there any difference in your approach when it comes to essay? How did you structure your essays?
Yes, sir. This time actually I made a little. Last year I got 123, sir. This year 116. Overall there has been a dip in
but that's more or less the same.
Yes. So overall there has been a dip, even in generalistic terms it has dipped. So my one difference I made this year essentially was to bring something called as philosophical underpinnings. So irrespective of whether the topic is philosophical or even if it's a regular one, after my anecdote for 1.5 page, I would write a philosophical underpinning. So I would identify the some philosophers based on PSIR or my extra additional reading that I used to do. So based on those, I would identify the philosophical thoughts of various thinkers and link it to the topic, and I would dedicate another 1.5 page for it. So this I felt gave that philosophical depth, a sense of maturity beyond that pestle approach. Well, pestle approach is good, sir, but that has to happen later. And it's, as you said, it is very cliched. And I do not believe the fact that essay is an extension of GS. If that was the case, I think he would have added another GS paper. So essay is more about creativity and using that creativity. There's a lot of scope to do whatever one wants to, and I think I explored that field. So a lot of philosophical depth is what I did. Lot of anecdotes, quotations, and even try to write a poem here and there. So this is what I've changed this time around.
Okay. So many aspirants face this problem. Where do I start with when they want to prepare for civil services? So where should someone start with?
Yes, sir, because that is again a very valid question, especially for beginners. UPSC syllabus is very open-ended. The resources are so many, so it's very difficult to get that starting point. I think that is where I feel mentorship comes in, and even some guidance in the form of either past top rankers or even someone who's very closely associated with this exam can come in handy, sir. Apart from that, I feel keeping the resources very limited based on whatever recommendations by your peers or seniors, etc. Keeping one resource per subject will definitely help. Keeping the resources very limited will help. Then I feel UPSC preparation has to be means oriented preparations. Only then I think this examination will feel a lot easier, and I think the success rate will also improve. So prelims preparation is a subset of mains preparation. UPSC, when one says I am preparing for UPSC, it has to be mains preparation. So for beginners, I would advise limited resources, a lot of revisions, and regular newspaper readings.
Kiran, now this point you have mentioned this in the interaction with the students also. There is no such prelims preparation. It should be subset. Can you just elaborate further? Because many are actually thinking that prelims, yes, of course, it is the toughest. And once you crack prelims, then 3 months we can do something. So this is the mindset of majority of the aspirants, and many are guided also in that way. So there are students who are religiously spending time only into the prelims syllabus. What's your advice to them?
Yes, this has been the popular trend among aspirants, but even if you just ultimately prelims is a entry ticket to mains, sir. So no matter how hardly you get into that, the next 3 months will feel like hell if you're very underprepared or you're not worried about mains at all in the initial few months. So my approach and my suggestion is do a lot of mains oriented preparation, think all the topics in terms of introduction, body, conclusion, what are the value addition I can do, what are the current affairs I bring in. I think thinking in that point of view will help. Prelims, yes, it is becoming very dicey, very dynamic year on year, but I've always felt that one who has prepared for mains well will ultimately logically do well in prelims as well, because prelims is no more just about factual content. It is about application of mind. It's about linking different things, different knowledge aspects. So once mains is done, I feel that logical application of mind comes in more easier during prelims. So this would be my suggestion. Apart from that, I would say lot of rigorous mock test practice for prelims, sir. So all my successful 3 prelims have been only when I've written a lot of tests. So these 2 things I would like to highlight.
Also, Kiran, this was your 6th attempt, last attempt. It's like do or die.
Yes.
You went through interview last year, and one more thing is that many working professional also would be watching this.
Yes.
So what would be your advice to them, or those who are going to give the last attempt, sixth attempt, do or die, what was your daily routine? How you plan? Because you are working also when you are giving the prelims. Last 3 months only you took the break,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So what you will tell them?
Sir, actually,
What was your daily routine during this? How you manage this pressure and do or die situation?
yes, sir. With work, I think it has its own advantages, disadvantages. As you've rightly mentioned, time becomes very limited for working professionals. So managing the limited time very judicially is very important. So I would advise have a very for example, I would always plan what would I do next day. So just before sleeping, I would jot down whatever progress I've made today, and also what will I do tomorrow morning. Because if I'm doing that, I think I will not be wasting a lot of time the next day trying to figure out which test to write, which books to read. If that is already sorted on the previous day, I think I'll save a lot of time and not waste my limited energy, a limited time. Apart from that, I think managing weekends, I think we have to reduce a lot of social life. We have to cut down a lot of social life. I have done that, and it might be difficult in few days, but ultimately it is rewarding. So we have to cut down on a lot of social life. Apart from that, using our leaves and weekends very judiciously. So you cannot have and compare your life to your other peers and colleagues. You have to live those two lives. Like one is the office personality, and post office again back to the aspirant life. So managing that and always staying in that mindset is very important, sir. So always backing yourself that I can utilize the limited time and this is enough, and not have that FOMO that others are getting more time and I'm competing with someone who's reading 10-12 hours. What I feel is that ultimately a person will only be efficiently studying is only 5 to 7 hours, sir. Beyond that, I think it is just peripheral trading, and this 5 to 7 hours is more than enough.
Kiran, I also want to ask about AI, how you used AI or ChatGPT. In fact, one of our students also with the interaction, she was asking about this and you have answered. So if you don't mind, can you discuss that to the audience also, how it actually helped, how aspirant can use AI in their preparation?
Yes, I have used especially ChatGPT during my mains and interview preparation, more intensively during the mains preparations. In terms of value addition and my answer evaluation, I used to upload my answers to it and ask it to give an UPSC oriented answer within the time, within the word limit also. So this is something I did, especially with respect to PSIR. I felt in terms of value addition, enrichment, etc. With respect to PSIR, I found a lot of help. So I was following what is called as the 5C approach, the context, compare, critique, contemporary relevance, and conclusion. This is what I followed for PSIR. It's very popular among PSIR and even other optionals. So I gave that prompt to ChatGPT, trained it in that sense. Then any question I would put, it would give me in that format. So this helped me with respect to a lot of enrichment, lot of answering within the word limit. So it helped me, sir. In terms of interview, it prepared a lot of questionnaire based on my DAF. I also used it for asking me some mock questions as well, and I would put my responses to it. So both through textual format and even voice. So it would rightly identify that some of my sentences were very long enough, and it asked me to trim it down. It also gave me that bureaucratic civil servant type of phrases to use. One thing I can remember is it would not use corruption, it would say integrity issues. So these are certain small changes that actually help change the way I speak, use less words to bring in a point of view. So this is something ChatGPT has helped me a lot. Of course, its utility is there, it has to be limited, but ultimately backed by core preparation and mentors like you, sir. It cannot replace mentors.
Another important thing is with respect to optional, because that's the 500 marks and that's the deciding factor. So even you are someone who have chosen one optional from your background. And then you changed immediately. That's a big decision also. Changing that is a big decision, and changing that immediately is another big decision.
Yes.
And took PSIR, and you did very well.
Yes.
So tell our audience about how to choose optional, and why you should not make the mistake that you have done.
Yes, rightfully so, because optional is 215 to 500 marks out of the 1750. It forms the very core of mains preparation. So choosing, I initially wrote with civil engineering optional, which was my graduation subject, and also had some background with respect to gate and engineering services. So I was comfortable with it. But unfortunately, the marks did not translate in reality. I was stuck at 200 to 50. I just gave one mains with it, and that's when I decided that, and this is not going to work out. Also, technical subjects take a lot of time, and there's no overlap with any GS papers. So GS and optional would become completely two different entities. So that within limited time, I think it was very difficult to manage both. So that's when I decided I will switch to PSIR. I didn't think of any other options because I was very comfortable, and also because the previous experience of 3 attempts, I got well versed with polity and IR. So I felt this is one subject I can do very well. So I would suggest that student opt those subjects which is purely based on their own interest, rather than just blindly chasing toppers choices or trend analysis. Those are all are secondary criteria. Primarily it has to be one's own interest.
Okay, so we touched almost all areas of this exam. Finally, interview.
Yes.
You attended 2 interviews. First interview, after that you missed this by 13 marks.
37
and so what's your experience with interview?
So last year it was 171. This time around I got 195. But to be very honest, I thought last year I would get 195 and this year I would get 171. Because last year it was very predictable. I had a lot of questions where I was very comfortable with, very DAF oriented. But this time around it was completely different. So they took me by surprise, and there were a lot of ethical questions, situational based questions, a lot of on the spot thinking kind of questions. So this time I felt I was actually not very comfortable. Once I got out, I very reluctantly actually moved out of my seat, and after they said my interview was over. But somehow I felt I was being very honest in my responses. There was consistency in thought, and I feel that one should be very honest in their responses and give very pragmatic solutions to the questions. Because what we do in mains, just because we are writing a lot of pointers, irrespective of whether that solution might be practical or impractical, we just include them. But interview, you cannot give our responses like that. Our responses has to be very practical, pragmatical. So for that to happen, I think one needs to be very sensitive to the issues, and that is what I did, sir. My interview was not very dramatic, but I think it had those moments where I felt I stuck my ground, especially ethical questions. There was a question on book piracy. I just stood my ground, irrespective of how much they pushed me, cornered me. I just took the same stand, and I think that consistency, that honesty, will be rewarded finally.
Okay, Kiran, during your preparation, you were also associated with us during
Yes.
our mains companion program. So tell us about that. How did it help you? How you came in touch with us?
So actually very grateful for the program, all the faculty as well, and especially you. Sir, I actually got to know this only after I met Sachin in my last interview. So that is when after the result, he had actually very casually mentioned about the institute, and later when I asked him, very particularly mentioned this program, the companion program. And one of my strategy this year was to write a lot of answers, but without mentorship, I think that would actually not translate into real results. So it has come in very handy, sir, especially with respect to enrichment, which I was talking earlier, in terms of content enrichment, value addition. I think all those things I was very much helped with this program. So to anyone who's very serious with means, I would highly recommend it, sir. And thank you so much also.
Okay, thank you. One last question. With this, we'll wind up. So the fellow aspirants, right? Many will be struggling now. They might not have cleared. someone might be starting now, might be going through some struggles during the preparation. So what will be your advice? Because this was your last attempt, it was a do or die situation, and you are someone who have done it at that level, at a very good level also, with the 53rd rank. So what will be your final piece of advice to all the aspirants and audience who's watching this video?
So my advice is to the new aspirants and also to veterans is be curious. That is the first and foremost quality that one aspirant has to have. Be curious in terms of reading new topics, new books, new resources. And second, be very patient. Success in UPSC is going to be very hard, and it's not going to be very easy. No matter how intelligent, you might be a top ranker, you might be a gold medalist, UPSC is a great leveler. It humbles everyone. So have a lot of patience. Third is learning from everything and anything. Don't live in those bubbles where you're preparing and you're thinking, I'm the best, whatever I'm doing is perfect. So being in that mindset will not help long, sir. So we can actually get motivated, inspired, learn a lot of things even from our fellow aspirants. So respect others, show honesty and that kind of sensitivity to even others. So you can learn from anyone. I have learned from so many of my peers, passively, just by observing them. You don't have to do mistakes and then learn from them. I have committed a lot of mistakes. Others have committed a lot of mistakes. You can just observe, talk to them, and even if you're improvising on them and internalizing and avoiding those mistakes, I think that would be much more better. So one need not do those same mistakes and again come back and take the hard way I have taken 6 years. So avoiding all these mistakes will help. So this would be my advice. Not very technical, but these are very small instrumental things that will actually bring in results.
Thank you, Kiran. Thank you so much. All the best.
Yes, my pleasure, sir. Thank you so much.